farming giant hornets that are trying to kill you. What's scarier than that?
Without these suits, you will 100% die.
But to the Hmong people, giant hornets taste so good that they hunt and capture entire nests, then feed them into giant death balls that they can then harvest and eat.
Does anyone ever die in the process of this? Whoa! That's crazy. So, I mean, this stuff can literally kill you.
It's like something out of a dystopian sci-fi film. And it's the kind of otherworldly stuff that I'm sort of into. So today, we're joining a village of murder hornet farmers, trekking deep into the jungle to see the incredible way wild hornets' nests are located, looking into how they're captured and reared.
Potentially he just grabs it with his hand in some kind of special way.
And then harvesting a monster swarm that's so big it needs a team to lift and process.
One of the most pricey delicacies you can find. So these Hmong guys, they spend this entire year for this moment.
And finally, we're gonna find out about the taste. Can it really be worth the insane effort, the incredible danger, and the sky-high price tag? Can these hornets really taste that good?
That is the least appetizing sound that you can possibly make. Screw it, guys, you only live once. Let's roll.
In the remote mountains of Si Ma Cai, Vietnam, lies a Hmong community that makes its living farming Asian giant hornets. These things are deadly, but they fetch a huge price tag.
How much do they cost per kilo? Like, is it expensive? That's a decent price per kilo. You know what I'm saying? It's up there with sirloin beef, that kind of stuff.
Eager to see why, I've ordered one of these insane apocalypse-style suits necessary for the job. They're kind of a mashup with thick canvas construction, fan-forced ventilation to keep you from passing out, and rubber dishwasher gloves protecting your hands. Suiting up feels like preparing for a journey into another world. A world where Bill Gates and the WEF have finally taken complete control and have forced us into collectivist hornet farms.
There's fans at the back of my neck, there's fans right here. I guess it's the only way you'd be able to breathe in this kind of thing. It really does feel like almost like a spacesuit. Pretty insane. Let's just hope these guys know what they're doing. I've heard that this nest is absolutely giant, and without this, it is certain death. I wasn't all that nervous. Now I'm kind of shitting myself.
Welcome to our bug-eating future, where we must risk our lives for a few measly hornet bars and a couple of ESG credits.
And they did that up tight. I can barely feel my hands. Cameraman Nguyen getting toted up.
My host today is Xuan, the owner of these nests. He has 3 giant hornet nests at his farm, one of which is ready to be harvested tomorrow. But hornets don't just decide to build their nests at your farm. So first, we're gonna find out exactly how he's done this. Wild nests need to be captured and then relocated. And the method of locating these wild nests is ingenious. You attach a chicken feather to the hornet and you follow it back home in order to kidnap the queen of the wild nest. No, seriously, that's actually how it's done.
And so now, we're going to witness exactly how that goes down. We're going to trek into the jungle, we're going to catch a wasp, and we're going to follow it back to its nest.
And so armed with some sugar water, some cotton swabs, and a stick, we venture into the dense Vietnamese jungle. The goal is to lure hornets to us, capture them, and attach tiny feathers to them in order to track their flight back to their wild nests. Trekking deep into the jungle, the terrain becoming more treacherous with every step. There's large holes, wet and slippery paths, and it becomes pretty obvious to me that the life of a hornet farmer is really not an easy one.
So there are a bunch of the wasps hanging off this large tree in front of us. And Anquire is trying to place the cotton ball right next to him so that one of the wasps lands on the cotton ball. From there, I have no idea what we do. He doesn't have his suit on. We have to catch it somehow. I don't see any kind of contraption. Potentially he just grabs it with his hand in some kind of special way.
And we're in luck. We can get a little closer.
Maybe not that far, 2 or 3 meters away from this tree that has a bunch of these hornets on it.
And before long, we managed to capture one. Carefully attaching a feather to its abdomen using a loop of hemp. And incredibly, it works. It's surprisingly easy to follow this flying white feather, even through the dense green jungle.
And it flew off. And essentially, you do this to enough of these guys, and you can literally track their path back through the woods. They're able to still fly with the feather, and that's how you can see where they're going exactly. Insane. And once you locate where they're going, you get that nest, you dig it out, you relocate it to your house.
But after a few minutes, our hornet does a U-turn, returning to the same tree to eat some sap, the feather eventually falling off.
Having failed in the jungle, we've returned down to the valley where there's a small village that has a little bit of a hornet problem. We're going to catch a couple of their hornets that are just hanging around this sort of apple farm, and we're going to see where they go back to. Hopefully it is a wild nest and they do not return to the sort of farmed nests that these guys have in their village, just a couple of kilometers over.
Đi mệt không? Không mệt á.
Here we managed to capture a few hornets using the same sugar water trick.
We're just giving them a drink of sugar water, I think. I hope that kind of like chills them out because I did not bring my bee suit. And we let them go.
But when released, they fly all the way back to Xuan's farm, confirming these aren't wild hornets at all, just part of his existing stock.
Sonny wouldn't be happy with this, but I'm starving. Cucumber snack.
Should we have captured a wild young nest, the queen and nest would have been relocated. Young hornets, they explained to me, are not yet that aggressive and can be carefully nurtured. Food in the form of insects is provided to their nests and they're kept in home. In fact, they're practically hand-raised. Once the nest reaches a certain size, it's relocated outside with just a little bit of sugar water provided to help them along. And around a year after that, you have a problem. You have a giant 80 to 100 kilo nest of murder hornets living in your backyard, and you want to eat their babies, but they're not that into the idea.
Good morning, people. It is now the next day. Yesterday, we failed to catch a wild hornet nest for rearing. Luckily, they prepared one maybe about a year earlier, and it is now a giant 80 kilo mass. So behind me, we have an A-team of murder hornet collectors, harvesters. This sounds like the scariest thing that I've ever done. Let's see and participate in how it goes down. I think I'm just going to try and not get in the way and sort of narrate the process. Action? I'm kind of scared. All right, guys, it's action time. Without these suits, you will 100% die. These are guys who do it professionally. That's why they can afford these suits. But everyone else looks the same and no one is taking this stuff lightly. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's try not to die.
First, traps are set at the nest entrance and the exits are sealed with wet rags. This funnels a huge amount of the hornets into the traps, and we repeat this multiple times, clearing out as many of the hornets as possible just to make the situation a little bit more workable.
I think there are way too many hornets right now being able to escape and get out of here.
But the noise is incredible, and the nerves, it kind of gets to you. These things are trying to bite through anything they can. In some ways, it reminds me of shark diving, putting yourself in incredible danger just for a little bit of an adrenaline jump.
So as things progress, we've now removed the top of the hornet's nest. I thought there would be more to it. Really, it just seems like a mud roof. And I guess maybe we're gonna have to dig down somehow. I thought that you would right away be able to see the honeycombs underneath this concrete roofing shelter, but that's not the case so far.
But with some of the volume of hornets eliminated, the digging begins. We carefully remove the layer of clay-like dirt at the top of the nest and expose bamboo rafters and tarps that are saving the shelter from rain.
What they've done is they've placed bamboo tubes along the top and then impacted the mud down to sort of make a mud home, and then they've relocated the hornet's nest below here, allowed them to grow. They fed them chicken and other such things, and then the hornets will also continue to head into the jungle and eat tree sap.
Machetes in hand, the hunters then sever the hive from the walls and from some of the bamboo rafters.
I think we're about to see the real nest now.
This then allows us to flip the entire nest, revealing its massive size and writhing lava inside. It is a living, pulsating beast.
So there it is, people. A giant 80-90 kilo nest of hornets. It's taken 1 year, more than a year, to raise that thing. Those white larvae that you see dotting along the top of that honeycomb are worth their weight in gold up here. It is one of the most pricey delicacies. So these mom guys, they've spent this entire year for this moment.
The nest itself is far too large to carry in one piece, and it must be sectioned off.
I imagine we're gonna have to portion it up in some way, because I have no idea how we're gonna get that thing to the top of this hillside without doing so.
So hand saws appear out of nowhere, and I use to carefully detach each layer from one another. Each slice reveals more of the hive hidden underneath.
So yeah, it's taken a decent amount of time to truly process this entire giant slab of hornet larva.
And transporting these sections up the mountain in these oversized suits is a pretty grueling task.
The hornets are in peak frenzy mode. Like right now, they're attacking anything that moves. They're trying to attack my camera. It's pretty chaotic.
And as we get to the end, there's a small twist. At least it's not something I was expecting.
The reason that we were putting the tubes and catching all of the hornets in the beginning is because we're going to add them back. We're not after them.
Only about 80% of the nest is actually harvested. The remaining 20% is flipped back over. We then rebuild the structure with bamboo supports and tarps.
And then they add the hornet tubes back so they can crawl back into the nest and rebuild them for next year,
ensuring that another cycle will continue and that the nest can be harvested again in the future.
There it is. We're finishing up. We've collected what we need to collect. We've rebuilt the nest. We're now heading back up to the house. I guess we can unzip. Oh no. We're getting rid of any last hornets that are still on us. Apparently I still have some. And no one's taking any precautions. As you can see, they're still all suited up. Even up here at the house, we're a good 100 meters or so away from the nest. But it's not time to chill just yet.
Once finished, we leave much of the hornet larva in the home so that the hornets can chill out.
All right guys, we've moved maybe 200 meters away from the house, which is too close to the nest to actually just get undressed safely. So even though it's raining here, I think we're gonna get reset and then head on back.
And we trek to a nearby village for a celebration of sorts.
So we've arrived at a really traditional Hmong home, corn growing up in the rafters, and they've begun already to process the lava. Hello, xin chào.
Some of the lava have already been bought here, and there's a bit of a communal effort beginning in the preparation.
So essentially what's happening here is we're breaking down these honeycombs, and you have just about every stage of larva here. Everything gets eaten, nothing gets wasted. Some of those guys are just crawling around the bucket. Others of them have just got color in them, and they're far more in that Android alien format. Either way, none of this exactly looks all that appetizing to me. I have eaten some of this stuff before. I've got to admit I struggle to recall exactly what it's about. But again, imagine all the effort that's been put in. Imagine the year of farming, of feeding, of care that's put in. These guys aren't just eating it because they're desperate for food. They're doing it because it's a delicacy in these parts, and we're here to find out exactly what that delicacy is about, why people are after it, what it tastes like. Let's cook these bad boys up and see how they go down.
And the cooking process is pretty simple. All stages of the larva are gathered together and tossed into a steaming wok with a little water and some sliced lime leaves. There's also plenty of other dishes to go around: pork, rice wine, and it's good health wishes all around.
When you have a giant comb like this, you can hear the larva gnawing their way out. I don't know what it is about that, but it just gets me. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That is the least appetizing sound that you can possibly make. Here's the deal, we have a beautiful spread in front of us, and I think this is kind of a traditional Hmong lunch to sort of wind down the day. There are 4 tables around us that are just kind of like winding down, eating a bit of lunch, and while a lot of this food looks pretty good, there is of course the one intimidating dish of the giant Asian hornets. I'm gonna start in order of growth, what we've seen before, the smallest through to the largest. First, we have one of these guys. I think this is the original stage. It's kind of like the baby form. Huh, man, it's got like a way more creamy like texture this time. When I've had it before, it's had far more of a gush and just like a gooey kind of feel. Now that some of the water has been cooked out of it, it's actually a decent amount more edible, if you could say it like that. Not exactly what I would consider the most appetizing dish, but it's honestly, it's really not that horrible when it's cooked like this. So this is sort of like a far more fleshed out, full formed larva. These are the really kind of most intimidating stage, I think. They have that really gnarly noise that they make when you kind of eat them. I'm imagining a little bit more of a gush. Let's see. Yeah, in a weird way, that's almost like more edible. They have far more of a meaty flavor than I would have imagined. I think it really is kind of like almost chickeny like flavor. It's relatively edible when it's in that larva stage, and it does seem to be that is the most popular stage indeed. Like everyone seems to be after. Oh, 2 more to go. We're gonna step it up. This is in its most alien-esque form, when you're being built out in your android form in some sci-fi like tube. This is how you end up looking. I think it's probably the most visually intimidating. Let's give it a go. Oh wow, yeah. I mean, that's, to be honest, that's getting already a little bit harder to eat. It's got far more of a crunch to it. You can taste some of the eyes or the kind of hard shell that insects have starting to crunch away. Tough to eat, I'd say. I'd say that's much more difficult from a just flavor standpoint than the first 2 versions of this hornet. All right, finally, let's go for a full-blown hornet. It's basically a ready-to-fly giant Asian hornet. It has all its colors. It has its wings. It has a crunchy structure. I can feel it already in my chopsticks. It doesn't have that level of give. I actually think this is maybe the most intimidating that I've had. Let's go. Oh wow, yeah. It's got far more of a crunch. And the thing about the skin, the hard shell of an insect, is it really has that fingernail-like feeling to it. So it's not really a satisfying crunch. You never really get a clean bite through. It sort of has just enough give to it to make it a little bit off-putting. Even if it has that same sort of chicken-like flavor from the insides, it's really hard to do, I've got to admit. Sorry, Bill Gates. Sorry, World Economic Forum. It's not really my kind of thing. Although I am happy that these guys are letting me share in this kind of experience with them. It is really unique. And I do really see why people are fine with eating this stuff. Given that they grew up with it, it's far better than what I've eaten in raw form in the jungles.
After sitting down with Xuan, I learn a little bit more about his life and livelihood.
Xuan, how long have you farmed hornets for like this?
Lần là 15 năm rồi.
Wow, that's crazy. How much do these larvae cost per kilo?
Ký như này là được 500.000 Việt Nam.
This 80 kilo nest we helped harvest will fetch Xuan around 40 million VND, or about $1,500 US. A small fortune in these parts.
Who wants to buy these hornets from you, these hornet larvae?
Là chính là những người thương gia ở nước mình ra mua.
What about, do people from China buy this or not?
Có, là xuất ra Trung Quốc hết.
It is, to me, remarkable that hornets, once likely eaten out of necessity, have now found their place as a true delicacy.
Why is it so popular?
Cái này ăn rất là ngon, rất là bổ cho sức khỏe.
What are some of the health benefits?
Thêm nhiều vitamin.
The Hmong Bushmen have capitalized big time. They're providing a rare food at an astronomical price. They've developed these unique and ingenious ways of capturing and farming, from DIY protective suits to the feather tracking method. It's one of the most unique and interesting farming methods that I've seen.
Xuan, thank you for today, man. That was a really cool experience. Well, that is it for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. This was probably one of the most nerve-wracking harvests I've ever been a part of. No matter what you do, nothing will prepare you for that kind of an experience. I'm gonna peace out now, have a little bit of lunch with these lovely gentlemen who invited me on this journey. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments. I love coming up here, getting into the bush, doing some crazy stuff with these Hmong and ethnic minorities in the north. So there will be more of this to come. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.